popping, everybody? How y'all feeling? How y'all doing this evening, or in some cases, this afternoon? We are here. We are live. We are in color. All the way from Miami, Florida. Child, let me tell y'all something. When I do these cases, I be pooped. Okay? I be tired. It don't be a lot of time to get a lot of stuff done. I go to the court. I come home. I try to get a minute to myself, but then it's like we got to go right back live. And then we have to get straight into the commentary, do that. And then I have to be trying to find some food and get to sleep. But it's been hard getting up, child. I had woke up at 4 a.m, fell asleep, woke back up and around, and it was 9 o'clock almost. I got to get to sleep today, though, because I think that we're only doing 2 hours tomorrow. I think we're doing from 8 a.m. to 11 or something like that. But nonetheless, it was a little late today, too. I'll try to be on time tomorrow, I promise. All right, so today, a lot of things happened today. Today was the big bulk of it. They're saying that they were planning on resting the case Friday. They were planning on having closing arguments Monday, and we should have been out of here by, Tuesday. So this is wrapping up. The bulk of the Megan Thee Stallion's testimony is done. Megan Thee Stallion is done from her side, okay? She is in cross-examination right now, in the middle of cross. They did not finish the cross. They will wrap that tomorrow. I think that Milagro Grams her team is trying to bring her back on the stand to testify on her behalf. It was some tea with that later on in the day at the end, because apparently Megan Thee Stallion's team said, all right, here's the rule. Megan has a busy schedule. We're only going to call witnesses one time. Apparently, Milagro's lawyers agreed to that. And then today, Milagro's lawyers wanted to bring Milagro Grams on the stand and let her testify, because Megan's lawyers called Milagro as their first witness. And then in the cross-examination, Milagro's team was able to ask her questions, but they only questioned her for about 30 minutes because they felt like they were going to get a time to, show Milagro in a good light and, ask her the questions and let her speak. But Megan's team was kind of like, no, we're done. You had your chance to question your client. You only did 30 minutes. We did about 2 days worth. And you're not going to be able to bring Milagro back on the stand. So towards the end of the day, it was a big old kerfuffle at the end, where Milagro Grams or Milagro Cooper, her lawyer said that, I think the word was, let me look at it. The word he used was pull a fast one. Apparently, he felt like Megan Thee Stallion's team tried to pull a fast one in an attempt to not let Milagro be painted in a positive light by her team. The judge said, I would be very careful about using such language as a fast one, because you agreed. And when we asked you guys, did you guys have any witnesses when you guys wanted to present your case? You said no. But we will let you guys pull Milagro up. So perhaps tomorrow Milagro will be pulled up. There may be a cross, but there may not be a cross on Milagro on the other side. And they're planning on, doing closing arguments Monday, and we're wrapping up here Tuesday. Either way, I'll be gone by Tuesday. I was going to say to Wednesday. I'm out of here. The case is pretty much done. We got the bulk of the meat and potatoes today from Megan Thee Stallion. This was the big bow. And it was what it was. Now, let's get into it. Apparently, so today was not a great day. Noir King stepped on the stand, Milagro Grams' old former friend and moderator. Complete meltdown. Okay? We heard testimony from Sunstar. He went into a spiritual rant. Hello? Hold on. Let me show my brother. He went into a spiritual debacle. Tory Lanez. We got a piece of his deposition. It was off the wall and very nasty. And Megan Thee Stallion, she came poised, full of energy. She cried. She shed some tears. She laughed. She joked. And personally, I think she single-handedly finished Milagro Grams. We will get into it all here. Now, so I did get there a little later. Now, I found out that my name had been mentioned twice today. So apparently, toll free, I think that's one of the people that were suing Milagro Grams for her Camp Mob stuff. They played a deposition video on him. I wasn't there for that. It was like 2 minutes. They just talked about the HBO special, I'm hearing, in regards to how Milagro got on the HBO special. And apparently they said that Armand Wiggins reached out to Milagro because the producers for the special for HBO were looking for some people to be on Tory Lanez's side, which is true. And so they were asking me, hey, I'm trying to contact Milagro Grams. Can you contact her for me? I forwarded her the information because the company wanted her to speak on the Tory Lanez side. So that is what I woke up to today. Now, when I walk inside, there's this black man. I think his name, I found out later it was Noir King. I think his name is Emil. And I'm like, who is this on the stand? So I find out it's him. So they get into who he is. Now, this is Megan Thee Stallion's team asking the questions. He is a Megan Thee Stallion witness. He's up there, big, tall man. He's a handsome guy. He's sitting there. He's in a suit, tall, bald head, brown skin. I think he had on like a green suit, white shirt, and maybe a tie. And he's sitting there. And they're pretty much asking him who he was. He said he worked for Milagro. They were friends. He was a moderator on our station head shows. And when I got there, it was more about, Milagro used to be a big fan of Megan Thee Stallion. And she loved Megan Thee Stallion. And there were times where she was very neutral in, her reporting at the beginning of the case, in the beginning of the trial, the beginning of the shooting, and everything that happened between Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. He loved her. She loved Megan. Things went a little left because, according to him, he had met Megan Thee Stallion. Milagro had sent messages to Megan Thee Stallion, and Megan Thee Stallion didn't reply to the messages. But Daystar and Sunstar had sent messages to Milagro Grams, and they began communication. Once she had got a response message from one of the parties, Meg or Tory, she picked a side because she started getting communications. He then started to feel like creatively, and, they were having creative differences. They weren't thinking the same. They weren't feeling the same. And he wanted to leave, but he couldn't leave being a moderator because he was a part of such a big conglomerate there. He was working on her station head. He was working with her on Ra Ali on site, and they had built a big rapport, and a lot of people knew his voice there. But in his spirit, he knew that he couldn't do this anymore. He had become very weak and timid. It just wasn't feeding him anymore. He had been going through so many different things, and he couldn't understand why Milagro Grams would be coming at a black woman in this way. Okay? They said, well, what would it look like when she would, attack Megan Thee Stallion? He said, she just started talking about Megan every day. Every day after she connected with the Petersons, she would just talk about them every single day. Her following grew the more she talked about Megan Thee Stallion. December of 2021, he stopped working for Milagro. They said, why? And I wrote, this man is on this stand crying. He said, I couldn't do it. And I had some things going on. My grandfather had died. And I just didn't feel right. And I felt morally The judge says, hold on, everybody just stop. Just stop right now. Let's just take 5 minutes. Let's just stop. Just stop. So we had to, that man had wept and wept and wept. And he said that he just couldn't take it because the abuse that Milagro had sent and the negativity and the hate and the vitriol towards Megan Thee Stallion was so nasty. He morally could not sit there and stand for that anymore. He couldn't be in a situation where he was helping people. Yeah. Talk about people that want to commit suicide. Like, you know, so I wrote, this man has completely, and I do mean completely, broken down. This man is weeping as it endured for a night. Then we come back after the 5-minute pause. And I'm writing the notes. Then he leans forward and says, Milagro would have me doing very nasty things. She would have me, and she would have people stalking, doxing people's addresses, other bloggers. Tasha K. She had me dox Tasha K. Storm Monroe, she had me looking up Storm Monroe's addresses, and then we found a compromising picture. Apparently, I don't know. I don't get me to line. I did call my brother. I did call Storm and tell him, like, hey, I couldn't remember exactly what was said, or did you have the picture? But apparently, and don't quote me on this, but apparently they had found a picture of Storm Monroe. He said there's no such thing that exists. I don't know if it was a pink shirt. He said it could have been a pink shirt, but I don't know if they said it was like a pair of pink panties or a pink shorts or something. And she had found a picture of Storm Monroe in like a pink something. I don't know if it was a panty, a shirt, or shorts. And she had kept that information. And then she would also dox and look up addresses on bloggers like Armand Wiggins.
Okay?
Girl, what? Me? I wanted her to look back at me so bad. She did not move. She did not look. I'm like, are you you were looking back at me? You were digging on me? I'm out here writing. I'm thinking, okay, girl, let me write. And then Armand with me, and I'm sitting in the front row. I'm like, oh. And then he said, I reached out to Armand Wiggins, but quickly deleted the messages because I felt like he had probably too many messages, or whatever he felt like I had too many messages, so he deleted the message. I now think I remember that message, but I didn't respond and I didn't open it because I didn't like him. I didn't trust him. Because if I'm being honest with you, that man was very, very nasty and very, very messy. During that time when me and Milagro first fell out, that man had got on this platform and threatened me, would like to argue with me. He aided and abetted so much toxicity and vile language and energy towards me in that cult that they had over there. That man said some of the nastiest and the most egregious things about me. And then you want to send me a DM? So I didn't really feel bad, per se, because he was with it for years. He said that Milagro Grams, she had like a cult-like following. And they would do any and everything that she would say. And they would like harass and dox people. He said he didn't agree with what she did. And the straw that broke the camel's back was allegedly when she sold an underage sex tape that was created by a man that goes by the name of Kaylin Walker. She was selling a sex tape of a minor, I guess, on her Discord somewhere. And they were talking about how he was a moderator. He was They said, well, how often would she talk about Megan Thee Stallion? He said daily. Megan Thee Stallion became a daily segment on the Milagro Graham show. And they said it would be for hours and hours, no Mooney Law. And they rested their case. They got him off the stand. The cross-examination came. I wrote he's messy as fuck. They said, is it true you stopped being friends with Milagro because you had a shift in what you wanted to put out in the world? He said, yes. So apparently, he had a shift of what he wanted to put out in the world. And he had needed to move away from Milagro Grams. 6 months after that, in 2022, there is a video or a station head of him saying, oh, I'm going to pull your hoe card. I got plenty hoe cards to pull. In a sense, he was going off on Milagro Grams, getting real nasty. So he had created his own channel on Station Head and was being messy and reading and dragging Milagro Grams. So the cross-examination, Milagro's team said, well, I thought you wanted to shift in your energy, but here you are now. We have a video and an audio of you carrying on Station Head, reading and dragging. I thought you wanted a change in energy. Now, I'll tell you this. Milagro's lawyers did a terrible job today. Thank God they didn't have the one with the long weave on there, because she would have really made me lose it. Even my favorite kind of lost it towards the end with Megan Thee Stallion. Now, the one that was the lawyer today, this was the dark-skinned girl with the braids. She was okay, but she comes in a little bit heavy and hard, and just it's too much personality and not enough lawyer. Too much sass, too much pizzazz, too much attitude, too much you see it, and not enough breaking down the law and really getting to the questions and really building the case so people understand what's going on. So she was sending me during this cross-examination a lot of sass, but not the greatest lawyering. It's no shade. A lot of attitude, a lot of energy, but the line of questioning and the story building just was falling flat, because then remember, we still have the black lady that's the court reporter that can't hear for shit. she may need to get a new job at the end of this trial, because I've never been in a courtroom where the damn court reporter is telling everybody to slow down and speak like this. At that point, man, maybe I should get back there and start typing. Because, girl, but according to her, the lady was talking too fast. Okay? But anyway, I digress, because, oh, my God, she was sending me. She sends me every day, actually. So he said that he had to do that because Milagro was kind of bullying him in a way. And he says that Milagro Grams told him what happened. Apparently, she told him that Tory Lanez told her that they were all fighting over the gun, and the gun went off. This is what he said. Since you want to with me, oh yeah, I already said that part. Okay, they said you had thousands of messages together. Y'all would talk about current events. Y'all would even talk about, they said you and Milagro would talk all the time. Y'all would be messy together, right? Y'all would talk about Megan. Then they showed a receipt of Tory kind of reaching out to Milagro Grams and him talking. And then they show a text message where King Noir or Noir King would respond to Milagro and something, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, this is so dope for you. This is how, this is your moment. This is so great. Like everybody can't say that they got Tory Lanez reaching out to them. So this is a win for you. So basically they're saying, well, you were so stressed out about Milagro dragging Meg and this, that, and the third. But yet once you realized that she got in bed with the Petersons, you were sending her text messages of congratulations. You were celebrating her. You were lifting her up, and you were bragging with her and for her, boasting her up and feeding into her ego for being able to connect with these celebrities. So much so, you were even saying that this is her time. This is her moment. But yet, you were so distraught at one point. He said, this is big, dog. This is your moment. Who else can tell you they had a relationship with Tory and his father? And this is what I thought was the key. Now, this was, this is why you need me to be there. So, when they post the screenshots, right? Sometimes they post in the editing room, they don't crop some of the stuff. Or later on in the day, they had posted, Megan's text message thread. Her whole phone number was up there. They had to take it down. But in this same thread where he was, lifting up Milagro, and they were kind of talking about the fact that Tory Lanez, that she's got a Tory Lanez, cosign, and this is so big for her. This is her moment. Who else can say that they, are talking to Tory Lanez and the father in this moment? Now, this wasn't in the case. This was me being Armand for you. I got that to you. I wrote that down, and I'm quickly looking at the other text messages. And guess what? Guess what the message said under that? This wasn't a part of the case. I wrote, side note, LOL. This is what she had texted him after he texted her that. But they were just trying to show that one piece. But they didn't crop it. So it say, and wait till I tell you what happened to Tasha with Tasha K, bitch ass. So they were dragging Tasha K in the thread too, but Tasha K ain't a part of the chat. But she was messaging her back and said, "Hey, child, wait till I tell you what happened with Tasha K, bitch ass." You know what I'm saying? I thought that was a hoot. That was my own little kid. I'm like, girl.
Shit gonna get ugly. Okay.
Yeah, she was on that. They was in that thread clearing everybody. And so under that text message, Gotta love it. So under the text message, right? They showed another text message. This is Milagro's team. This is Milagro's team because they're doing their cross examination. So their job here is to pretty much make Noir King look just as messy as he's trying to make Milagro Grams. You're saying that you can't handle all the negativity that she spewed towards Megan Thee Stallion, yet you're celebrating her for being attached to Tory Lanez and his father. And then you messaged Milagro, say, man, I just went online and checked the numbers. Tory jumped to 7.4 million streams in 4 days, and Meg at 9.4 million for a week. Good for him. And I'm like, so was this? And they asked him, so you over here checking the numbers and doing this? They said, so was this when you were in the cult? He responded, yes. So what I started to gather, they started going into how him and Milagro kind of fell out. So apparently there was a code name for a woman named, or a person named Bunny, right? And apparently Bunny was somebody who Noir was dealing with. But it started circulating around the Milagro group chat family mob radio camp in Discord that Bunny wasn't just a little funny, or maybe he was, or she was. All right, so at the end of the day, Bunny ended up not being a pretty soft little animal. Bunny ended up to being a big, strong man. So he felt like Bunny was, Milagro knew who that was, but it started getting out that he was a homosexual. And he was on the down low a little bit to me. He wasn't really sure who he was. So he started receiving different messages that Milagro was leading people to kind of think, he may be gay. I believe that. Milagro's message. She just did that at Camp Mob. She had the cameras and filming the people. Here's the thing. When I always tell gay boys, and this is not no shade, but when you get with women and stuff like that are like, they don't care about your sexuality. They don't really care about protecting you, especially if you're online. It's a key to them. Girl, Milagro, I believe it just because the way that she kind of carries herself online, keeping receipts, kind of insinuating. Remember, she tried to release some stuff on me when she felt like she was mad at me, try to post text messages and things that we discussed and all these different things. So Milagro pretty much outed him to his audience. So I feel like that's why he's really mad, because she never really apologized for it and she never really took accountability. He can't really prove it, but he knows that she was the one that, he feels like she was the one that led everybody to know, or led Bunny to the carrot. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, and so maybe they had went and Bunny hopped on a few dicks, and he maybe had told Milagro that him and Bunny was jumping off of each other's carrot sticks, and Milagro started leading people to the carrot, to the rabbit hole. Whoa. I guess they went all the way down the rabbit hole and found the shit.
Shit gonna get ugly. Okay?
Wow. Anyway, so that's why I feel like, they started to kind of falling out. And he said, yeah, Milagro was alluding to this stuff, because they was like, but you have no proof that Milagro did this to you. He was like, But yeah, she kept alluding to it. And I said, Milagro did that shit. So then they eventually went to one site. Milagro was there. He was there. It was Raleigh, Milagro Grams, and Noir King. He said he was working there. He was doing his thing. Riley liked the way that he gave it up on his commentary. It wasn't that he was following Milagro. He just went there because, Riley liked him. So he worked there for a little bit with her, and then he eventually left or whatever. They said, would you agree that Mrs. Cooper, Milagro, has never messaged Mrs. Pete? He said, no, she did message her. And then Milagro's lawyer said, don't you think if she ever messaged Milagro, if Milagro ever messaged Megan Thee Stallion for anything, that it would be in this case? He said, well, no, because she's lost several Instagram pages. She may have not a messenger from this Instagram page, but Milagro would message a lot of celebrities. Now, I don't know if Milagro is a messenger like that, because Milagro also likes to give, even if she does want to talk to you, she likes to be able to hold that you reached out to me. You came to me. I didn't come to you. So I don't know if it's true or not. Maybe it's different with celebrities, but I know with regular people and content creators, she doesn't really do a lot of reaching out, because in case there's a fallout, she'll want to make it look like, well, you wanted to be my friend, or you wanted to reach out to me. I didn't really care to reach out to you. So I couldn't see her reaching out, but apparently over the 3 or 4 different Instagram pages Milagro Grams have had, he's saying that she messaged Megan Thee Stallion. But Milagro's team is saying if there was any inkling that she messaged Megan Thee Stallion, it would be in this case. Okay. I wrote, this is not good. She needs to sit down. She has too much sass and not enough lawyer. Too much attitude. I said the jurors don't even give a damn. She has no points. This is a complete bomb. I don't know what she was. This lawyer, Milagro Grams' lawyer, doing at this point. It was just probably just all over the place. Did she finally got to the point? Oh, I said they were not able to discredit the witness. The lady that was actually doing this, she wasn't good enough to create doubt in the jury, in my opinion, for the witness. The job of the cross-examination is for you to create doubt in that jury. And when you have a big man over 6 feet break down and weep so heavy that the judge has to stop the whole cross-examination for a 5-minute break, you need to get up there and lawyer up, because that man got on that stand and she queened out. She performed on that stand. I mean, weeped low down. Carried. Okay? Carried. Because I'm like, well, what the fuck did I miss? Why is this nigga crying like this? For Megan Thee Stallion? I wasn't sure. And everybody just like, well, everybody looking around like, well, shit, I don't know either. And so they said, and they rested with this. They said, do you have any proof that Milagro told you, Tory Lanez told her, what happened with the shooting? He said no. They rested. Okay? He got up off the stage. He went to go get him some motherfucking air. Skipped on out of there. Okay? Now, Sunstar, we get a deposition. This is Tory Lanez' dad, and I'm going to be paraphrasing some of this stuff because it was a lot to write down. It was quick. He said they wanted him to be honest. He said, I'm going to be honest. He said, in so fact, I'm going to be honest. You know what? As I sit here today with no legal counsel next to me, my God, I have the counsel of the Holy Spirit. I will answer your questions truthfully, but I don't trust your firm. And they said, we're going to go ahead and start the questioning. And he said, Father God, in the name of Jesus, I thank you. And I refuse to perjure myself. And I will tell the truth. It was something along those lines. He had went into a whole, Father God, in the name of Jesus, I refuse to perjure myself on the stand for a quick bus. It was like, and Jesus, and as the Lord stands beside me here, my God, and all of his glory in his name, I will tell the truth. Amen. And the Holy Spirit is here and in this room with me. And he that should be for me shall cast down any motherfucker that's against me. Now let's get started with the deposition. Something along, I added, but it was like that. It was like, you know what I mean? But it was the same energy. I was like, yo. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what it gave. Remember, he's the same one that Rock Nation, you will crumble. So take that and understand that prayer that he did first. So I was like, that nigga is out of here. But I was like, and mind you, I've been feeling like, ooh. I had felt a little, you know how you get in the church when they really hit you in the spirit? I'm writing down, I had almost went into one. Hey, I had jerked a little bit back. Okay, it was no shade. I kind of break through myself. Shit. Oh, I always love a good Sunstar. You know, and you know what? He's such a handsome man, pulled together right. He's always got nice glasses, nice suit jackets, got the spray line, the tattoo hairline. I love Sunstar. He's a hoot, very entertaining. He is a personality like none other. My God. So they said, have you ever sent Milagro money? I've sent to Zelle. Did you make the first contact to Milagro? He said, yes. What did you say? When did you say you first met her? He said, I wanted her to interview me. I wanted to meet with her to do an interview, basically. And I think it was something along the lines like, you know, she was covering the case. He liked what she was saying. She was saying things from a different perspective. And, you know, he liked what she was talking about, essentially. It wasn't about to pay her to lead her on or to put her on payroll, but she was coming from an angle that most people weren't coming because she was seeing things that, you know, basically Tory Lanez had got into a position where in 2020, he had been, you know, that's when he had quarantine radio. He had, you know, he had, what is that thing where they were, not the token, I can't even think of it. Skip that. It was when he sold his, he got back reclaimed his masters and got his independence. And so he felt like Tory Lanez became strong and the industry didn't like that, right? And he felt like Milagro could see the fact that Tory Lanez became a target because he gained back his independence from the industry. Okay? He said, what did you want from her when you reached out to her? Like, what were you expecting? And he's like, again, I felt like she was, seeing things from a different angle, and she wasn't just taking what the masses were saying, and she was looking with a deeper lens, essentially, is what he said. She said they only met once in Miami. Sunstar, though, when they did meet, he flew her out to Miami, paid for her travel, hotel, and all of her expenses. He said, I'm the one that talks to Milagro-grams. And I'm trying to figure out how he got here. Then they jump cut it. And they were saying, then this is when he had leaned into Megan Thee Stallion. After all the sexual rituals and demonic videos and visuals, I pray that Cobra and Hiss and all of it fails. I think that he had said a prayer, like they had jumped into, how he felt like what he would say about Megan Thee Stallion. What he thought about Megan Thee Stallion, they played this clip where he was saying that she did sex rituals and demonic magic, and he prayed that Cobra album or that Cobra and that Hiss, it all falls. And they said, so what did you think about Megan Thee Stallion and, when she was being shot and she was going through these different things, and, when Milagro-grams would be attacking her online, he says, I'm not sitting up here talking. I'm not sitting up here with Megan Thee Stallion taking up real estate in my head. She lied. What did she lie about? Well, she lied about her and Kelsey fighting. First of all, that's a major part of the story, especially if we're looking for motive. Did you befriend Mrs. Cooper so Tory could talk about Mrs. Pete? I mean, did you befriend Mrs. Cooper because Tory couldn't talk about Mrs. Pete? The devil is a lie. Let me read that again. So the lawyer asked him, did you befriend Milagro-grams because Tory Lanez was under a protective gag order where he could not talk about Megan Thee Stallion? So Milagro-grams was going to be the mouthpiece to talk for Tory Lanez at and about Megan Thee Stallion, and Sunstar responded, the devil is a lie. And he said, and if you continue with this line of questioning because you keep asking me the same question, I will call you a liar. He said, I wish you would get to the point and the reason why we're here. You want to know if I paid Mrs. Cooper. And I'll tell you this, the devil is a lie. I'm like, yo, this man is crazy. This man is crazy. This man is crazy. Oh. She said, then the lawyer said, how much money did Tory Lanez pay Milagro? Asked Tory. Did you direct Milagro Grams to dig up negative info on Meg? I asked her to get info to help my son's case. Any father would do that. Maybe you don't have a son. Hold on. Maybe you don't have a son, but I would do that for my son. That's what he said. Like, he was like, maybe you don't have a son, but I need to protect my son. Pretty much they were smearing my son's name in the media, and I was asking her to get the info that she had so that we could help my son's case. Maybe you don't have a son, so you don't know, so you wouldn't do that. But I would do it for my kid. So you're damn right I asked her to go get the info. Shit, we fighting a case. Then they said, well, during the trial, were there any other people, bloggers, sitting with the family? I was there. No, there was not. He said he couldn't remember. He couldn't recall. Why did you invite Milagro Grams to Tarzana? He said he invited her because he wanted her to have a meal with them. And so that was that. Because he was on, there was no reason to cross because that was pretty much what it was. He came in through the deposition video. Then they had the forensics. I'm going to breeze through this one because I really wasn't that interested. But what I gathered from the forensics guy, that with the text messages, so he went into all these different things about forensics and how, it was very technical about how you can, and in the court reporter, every few minutes she had to stop because it was too technical for her. She couldn't keep up. Basically, he was showing how data can get lost and data, how in the phone it can get removed. And it doesn't really show what the messages said, but it can show like this amount of messages. It shows a blank spot for this amount of messages being erased. Long story short, when it got to the cross-examination for me, it was BS because they had exposed, first of all, the man was hired last week. So he wasn't even the original forensic analyst guy to actually work on the case. He just got hired. He charges $850 an hour. He doesn't really know what's going on. And then two, if you mass delete stuff, he couldn't really prove that she deleted the messages because they were correspondence with her and Tory Lanez. He just knows that there was messages deleted. You don't know if she was saving space. You don't know if she was, because Milagro also got a new phone. So you couldn't understand, like, well, maybe she got a new phone and she just selected certain pictures and videos to go over. So you're just saying, yeah, all these messages got deleted, but you don't know what the messages were. You don't know what the content of the messages were. You don't know why she deleted all these messages. And nigga, you just got the case, so you don't really know what's going on. So you coming in here like this forensic analyst trying to say, yeah, all these messages were deleted. Well, what were the messages of? Can you tell the content of the messages? And then, well, Apple is very hard, so you can't really see. And then two, there's not even a timestamp, a date and time when the messages were deleted. But you're saying you have two different downloads or uploads or extractions of messages. But the only reason why you have two different extractions to go off of it because Milagro gave you one and she gave you two. So if she was trying to hide something, would she give you both of them? That's what their angle was. She actually gave you more than enough. But what they're basically saying, is messages are gone. But on the defense side, it's like, okay, she got a new phone. You're saying messages are gone. That's very vague. what messages are gone. Okay, there could be this 20,000 messages here, but why is that not showing in your chart that 20,000 messages are gone? You're showing me, we're looking at a screenshot where it's 20,000 messages that it's supposed to have been deleted, but you're not showing 20,000 messages back to back to back to back to back deleted in your report. So I don't know. For me, it just kind of felt like you just got put on this case. And it's like, I don't know if that was really, they were really strong on that for me from Megan's side, because it's like, well, we don't know what the messages were. They could be from Tori, they could be not, they could be from Dad, or they could just be she was deleting shit out of her phone. Or she could have transferred her phone and didn't want to transfer everything. So there's that. They said, can you tell when somebody's trying to create space in their phone? He couldn't answer that. And he technically wasn't able to prove that she deleted messages from Tory Lanez and Sunstar. So I thought that was interesting. Then Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez, they pulled Tory Lanez on the stand. They played his deposition. It was terrible. I wrote Tory Lanez played on this deposition. Tory Lanez was laughing, talking about we got all day. I got 10 years. He was just like being so unprofessional. He eventually ended up getting up, walking off. He was just being childish. He honestly didn't say anything that was worth even going back and forth. He was like playing, what do you think meat means? Meat can be meat, meat can be meat can be meat. What do you, like, how did you meet Milagro? What do you mean meat? I mean, you talking about meat as an M-E-A-T, or you go on Pornhub and you type in meat, that's a whole nother description of meat. Like, he was playing games like that. So it's like, all right. Then he was like, basically, y'all not gonna like bully me, or y'all not gonna get on. Basically, he's like, y'all not gonna get on my nerves. I will get out of here and walk up out of here because I already got 10 years. I didn't beat my appeal. I'm in jail, so I don't care, y'all. And I will pay y'all. Y'all can try to find me all you want. I got money. I'll pay you guys and pay you guys and pay you guys before I sit here. I don't care. And so my only thing with Tory Lanez, his dad, and even Caesar, but specifically Tory Lanez and his father, I was a little disappointed in them. The reason why I was disappointed in them, and not personally, because I don't have a dog in the fight, but I do feel as though they didn't really try to help this girl's case. If anything, they hurt her case with their professionalism in these depositions. If this girl's got her neck on the line for you, at least try to help her on the outside. They were, and I get it, but it felt very self-driven. Or Sunstar, Tory, Caesar, they felt like they were moving as a unit for them three. But I don't think that anybody was considering that Milagro Grams was out here with her neck out, and she needed them to cooperate and at least, I don't know, say that they didn't pay her. Really, be a part of try to help the girl case. Don't be something that, they play this deposition video in the court and everybody's like laughing and looking and like, ooh, they're a mess. Or you guys look like you guys are hiding something. So I do feel like they did Milagro Grams a disservice because they did not have her back. At least not in a way that I feel could be beneficial to her success in this case. So I did think that was a little bit odd. And if I was Milagro Grams, I'd be a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you. So there's that. Now here's what you guys all came for. Megan Thee Stallion. Okay. Megan Thee Stallion came in with like a light purple outfit, big bouffant hair. She was ready to testify today. Megan Thee Stallion takes the stand. Now, mind you, majority of this testimony starts with Megan Thee Stallion and her team. So it's Megan's lawyer talking to her. I will let you know when Milagro's lawyer steps in and does the cross-examination. But this is all Megan's lawyers asking the question, Megan's responding. Megan. Yes? Where are you living? I live in Miami. Tell us about your upbringing in your life. You know, I've had a great upbringing with my mom, my dad, my grandparents. Um, that was the most happiest time of my life. And, you know, I lost my mom, lost my dad, and my great grandmother. But it just was some of the happiest times. Honestly, it was. Megan did a great job of going like into the mode and then coming out. Like she would get here and then she'd come back. They said, Megan, besides your mom and your dad and your grandmother, are there any other things that make you happy in life? Yeah, my animals, Ferris, my man, writing music and performing. How many animals do you have, Megan? I think I got like 10 or 11. What do you have? Like dogs, cats, turtles. I think I'm leaving some stuff out, but I got a lot. I got a lot of animals. For the people that don't know you, who are you? Well, I'm Megan Thee Stallion. I'm a rapper, actress, entrepreneur, creative. Did you choose your stage name? Yeah, I did. Why did you do that? Well, you know, being from the South, I'm tall and curvy. And I started, you know, I'm tall and curvy. So, you know, they call you Stallion. So I just went with it. Megan, when did you start rapping? Well, I kind of started rapping at 7. I always wanted to rap because my mom, she was a rapper. But I really started taking it serious at around 18. Tell us about your mom. My mom, she was so strong. And she just would do anything for me. Like she was just the best. Like she taught me everything, and she was my everything. She was my brain. She was everything for me. I just really had, like, even my dad. Like I had good parents. I had really good parents. My mom was my stylist, my manager, my brain, and she really stepped in when I started. You know, that's when she really started managing me. Megan, this is going to probably be very uncomfortable, but tell us what happened to your mother. So she goes into the story about what happened to her mom. My mom, I was on the phone with her one day and she was talking and she just started talking slow. And I'm like, I don't know why, but I didn't think nothing of it because, we just joke around and stuff like that. And she was just kind of talking slow. And then she had went to the doctor. They found out that, she had like a tumor. And then apparently, like I guess she slipped into a coma. And then she said, then shortly after she was brain dead. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, she's not my mama. Like, it's not real. And what am I supposed to do? It's not even my mama. And I had to make a decision. Like, cause I don't know. So I decided to take her off of life support. And because she had a small stroke, and then she had a brain tumor, and then she had a seizure, and ultimately went brain dead. So the mom pretty much was talking slow. That was a small stroke. She went to the doctor. She had a brain tumor. Then ultimately started having seizures and went brain dead. And she took her off of life support. That was sad. That you could feel everybody in the courtroom go, I ain't gonna hold you. I know we're doing the reenactments, but in all seriousness, that story is gonna get you every time. The Megan Thee Stallion mom story is always gonna get me because, first of all, we all got a mama. I love my mama. I don't care what the person go through. Megan Thee Stallion was in her 20s. And then two, it's like that happened at the same time she was rising in 2019. During this time, Megan was still getting popular for rapping. And so it was almost like her mom sent her off. And so that's where you just never heal from it because you're like, damn, you were going to see me. You know what I mean? So I ain't gonna lie. That one was a rough one for me to listen to. Every time I hear that story, she wins me over. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. She do win me over with that one. Every time I'm like, damn. So after that, then they said, in your father. Well, my dad died when I was 14. No, in 2014. So 5 years later, the mom died. That's bad. That's hard. 2 months before that, before the mom died, her great grandmother died. And it was so hard because she watched her mom from 2014 when her dad died struggle to pay bills. And she was finally starting to make some money. And she was able to help her mama, and her mom passed away. Then we got into the success. Megan, you've been very successful. Tell us about some of your success. Well, I started a foundation, the Pete and Thomas Foundation, because that's my mom's last name and my dad's last name. So I'm really proud of my foundation. I love that. I got a couple Grammys, BET Awards, MTV Awards, NAACP Awards. I got a lot of cool stuff. What was your favorite award? I love all my awards. I love every time I'm awarded because I love being appreciated and acknowledged for my work. But I really love getting acknowledged for my foundation because that's for my mom and my dad. Megan, you also graduated college with a degree in healthcare administration. Yeah. What made you go do that? And how was that process? Well, I would take a lot of tests. I would do a lot of homework, but I feel like my grandma died 2 months before my mom, and I feel like my granny, and my mom, that's what they saw me doing, and I just wanted to finish it because they saw me going through that, and I feel like they wanted me to finish that. And then two, I had my grandma, my great grandma, two old ladies, fighting together, not really fighting, but kind of fighting. Just they were like grumpy old ladies, and I watched my grandma try to take care of my great grandma, and it was just, and I was wondering like, do other people go through that in their family? And I'm just looking like we don't know what we're doing. And I feel like I needed to know what I was doing because there's a lot of people out there that don't be knowing what they're doing with their families. And I just felt like I needed to complete that and do that. Now, let's switch gears. Megan, do you know Milagro Grams or Milagro? Yes. Have you met her? No. I first learned of her in 2020 when I was shot. I think Kelsey showed me something that Milagro said about her when I was shot, and I thought it was going to go away, that she didn't like, but nothing more. Do you know Kelsey? Who is Kelsey? My old best friend. Are you and Kelsey still friends? No. Why aren't you and Kelsey friends? Kelsey and I ain't friends anymore because I feel like she took a bribe from Tori after he shot me and beat her up and then met up with him privately. So I don't want to be your friend no more. Like, you took a bribe after I got shot. He beat you up. You met up with him privately. I just feel like I don't want to be your friend no more. But in my mind, I'm thinking during that time, why she just didn't say that? Why was she having the lady act weird towards her like they were still going to be friends? I don't know. That was weird. But anyway, so that's why she's not friends with Kelsey no more. It's weird though, because we don't. Now we're back on Milagro. So how do you know Milagro? I just feel like it's weird because we really don't know each other, and being in the same room as her, never seeing her before and seeing her now, I'm just like, why are you carrying on like this? I'm tired of this narrative that I'm putting an innocent man in jail. They said, well, why are you suing Milagro Grams? I'm suing Milagro because of the deep fake video. She harasses my fans, harassing me, my friends, my family. She teamed up with Tory Lanez, and I want her to stop. I want her to stop. That's why I'm suing her. Well, you do know that other people were mentioned that you didn't sue that had bigger platforms. Milagro knows why I'm suing her. She knows. But I know they keep mentioning Aiden Ross, academics, Tory Lanez. All I feel teaming up with Tory, by the way. But it says, they said, does it make sense? Do you understand why they're saying that these people have bigger following, but you coming after Milagro? No, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that these people with bigger followers should be sued. It doesn't. She said, I'm going to explain it to you. Joe Budden used to be a rapper with one of the biggest songs in the world. He's almost 50 years old, and he still only has 1 million followers. But Joe Budden already has his career. And I think she said something similar about Academics. Like, Academics has, his relationship with rappers. He's done interviews. He has a platform. Milagro, you're getting fame off of dragging Megan Thee Stallion. Milagro, you're the only person promoting deepfake videos. This is Megan Thee Stallion. Milagro, you're the only person pulling up my ex-boyfriend. Milagro, you're the only person pulling up my address. Milagro, you're the only person harassing my family. This is why you're getting sued. Just because you only have 40K followers doesn't mean you don't have a large engagement. So what I got from that was she's suing Milagro because it's starting to feel like Milagro had gained like a parasocial sort of like obsession with her. And it was like you're gaining traction, but it's like you've gotten too deep in the weeds of like your reporting, digging at my family, harassing and this and that, and talking about this and talking about that. Like, it just got to a point where this is beyond blogging. You've now became obsessed with me. It's kind of what I took from that. That's kind of that's why I feel like, yeah, these other people don't like me, but they hit and miss. But then you've like taken it like a little bit deeper. You okay? They said you filed in 2024. Why did you file sooner? She said, well, I thought that after the trial and the conviction, everybody would just kind of move on, especially Milagro. And she didn't. I thought a person who was a mom and a wife would move on, but she wouldn't let up. They said, Megan, let's talk about the deep fake. It hurt. It's embarrassing. Like, that's so embarrassing. I don't want my management people to see that. Like, why would you post that? Why would you share that? Like, why would you want people to see that? My grandmother's still alive. It's uncomfortable. I'm embarrassed. I feel defeated no matter what. If the video was fake or not, I think she wanted it to be real. And everybody that didn't like me, they wanted it to be real. And that was like, why do you want that? What do you want? Why? Then they pulled up the tweet where Megan Thee Stallion posted, just know today was your last day playing with me, and I mean it. That was on 6/8/2024. And they said, what did that mean? She said, this was the day I had made up in my mind that I was going to sue Milagro Cooper. They said, do you ever listen to Milagro Grams' shows? She said, I never listen to the shows. I just hear clips. I already know the gist. I already know what she's going to say. Megan's a lying asshole. Tori didn't shoot her. She got a drinking problem. I already know what she's going to talk about. Hold on. So then, I think she played this audio. I want to make sure this is the right audio because somebody then they posted a tweet where Milagro was like she heard that Megan had a drinking problem and Megan could be retarded and all that stuff and all that. And Megan was like, well, how did you react when you heard that? And she said, after I was shot, Tori started to feed people that I had a drinking problem. Tori is the one who told her that. When she says drinking problem in my family, I'm like, why would you say that? Oh, I think this is it. Let me find the audio. They played this audio here. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up for you, boo. Oh, here it is. This is what they played in court. So, this is what they played in court. Let me get it for you. Somebody went and grabbed the audio. Hold on. Y'all ready? Hold on. Okay. Alcoholics. Because the fact of the matter is, you have a grandfather that was an alcoholic. Your daddy, was your daddy on drugs? Or was he in and out of the system? What was that for? You want to talk about that? Is stealing worse than drugs and shit? Because see, I don't like how you tried to throw up that he's supposed to be a pill popper and a motherfucking a powder head. But your mama was stealing and going to jail for stealing. And I don't have to say allegedly because I'm facts, because I seen the paperwork. And they asked Megan Thee Stallion after that, how does she feel? Megan Thee Stallion said, when she says drinking in my family about my father, my grandparents are all deceased. Most of my family is deceased. So why would you say that? Why would someone be so sure that I don't know to be true? Like, why would somebody be so sure about something that they don't know to be true? Then they read off the protective order that Megan Thee Stallion filed on Tory Lanez. She filed it first when she was doing the regular lawsuit. I mean, during the first, criminal case. She filed another one in 2024 because she wasn't sure if they had refiled it again, and she wanted to make sure she protected herself. The protective order pretty much said that he can't contact her, no way. Not through plane, mail, airplane, paper trail, pass a note, sticky note, social media, through another person, any method of contact communication you could think of, he could not do it. And she did that to protect herself. They said, do you feel like he's still contacting you? She said, but I feel like he still continues to harass me through other people. Milagro would know info that she shouldn't know about. And basically, she gets the info from Tory Lanez. They said, well, how do you know that they had a relationship. She said, well, she seen that Tory Lanez was, sending Milagro Graham happy birthday. Milagro was bragging about being in them rap songs. She was, being told about getting a podcast. So she felt like they were really in cahoots. Also, they asked her about the DNA tweet where Milagro Graham said, hey, I have breaking news. Tory Lanez's DNA was not on the gun. She said the DNA tweet, they asked Megan how she felt about that. She said that she feels like Milagro had been fed that information because court hadn't even started that day and Milagro was putting out an exclusive. And it was a lie. And she said, people still believe to this day that Tory didn't shoot me because Milagro tweeted his DNA is not on the gun. And that's not true. She said, I feel like no one cared I was shot. I think it's crazy a man shot me and make a music video chopping up a horse leg and everyone thinks it's funny. And I was starting to wonder, does my life even matter? Does it even matter to me? Was he gonna chop me up? What was he saying? Was he gonna do that to me? He shot me, so he was gonna chop me up? I started to fear for my life. Does it even matter? Does anyone care? Why does Milagro think this is funny? She's somebody's daughter. I'm somebody's daughter. She got daughters. As a woman, you think that's funny? Why is this funny? Yes. Joe. The heck, I mean, this Megan Thee Stallion, she had really carried on this stand. I mean, she carried on this stand. She carried on this stand. And apparently there was a chalkboard in one of the videos, and it said "Hot Girl Special," and it was a chopped up the leg, and HGS, and it stood for, in her mind, Hot Girl Special or Hot Girl Summer, but it was called Hot Girl Special. I guess they were cooking up the horse leg. When I saw her tweeting the screenshot from the video, I was really sad because she created a space for people to talk bad, and I'm seeing people laughing. And I'm like, this man is clearly talking about me in this music video. And you don't see this? Then they pulled up Megan Thee Stallion's phone where she would send herself receipts of Milagro grams. They said, why were you sending yourself? But I always said this. I always knew this. I just want to make sure I got her name right. She had been sending herself receipts of Milagro grams since 2022. She says she was keeping all the receipts on Milagro because she had been wanting to sue her, and she had been building the case against Milagro. It would help her case. But I already knew they couldn't really get her, but she wanted to sue her for years. But the deep fake, remember I always say that. I'll be like, they're waiting for you to slip up and then they're going to try to sue you. Also, Then they talked about Milagro had posted a police report that said there was never, like, there was no bullet fragments in her feet or whatever, or they couldn't conclude it. But she was like, that wasn't my doctor. So that's not the surgeon that pulled them out of my feet. So that's not the doctor that pulled the bullet fragment. There were documents that are directly out that say that the bullet fragments are removed. That's what text messages that Megan Thee Stallion would send, because people would send her the police reports where they said that Megan Thee Stallion, there was no document. I mean, there was no bullet fragments removed. But then Megan Thee Stallion, they showed a text thread where Megan was like, well, responding to one of her friends, sending her a receipt and Milagro posting that tweet. And then, you know how you respond to your homegirl, you like, but there are documents all online showing from my actual surgeon where they pulled the bullet fragments out, but that just doesn't matter now. So they pulled that tweet. The grandfather being an alcoholic, the daddy, the mama stealing. I played you guys the audio. She was mad. She said, I don't understand her speaking about my grandfather in the way that she did, because they're both dead. I never met them. So I don't know. So how are you speaking on somebody that I never met? And you don't know. And then she went into, and for her to say my mama was a thief, I'm still sensitive about this. But I think people know when they talk about my mama, that will upset me. And it got so bad I had to call my granny. And my granny didn't know nothing. So she called one of her friends of the family or cousin. I don't know who she called. Don't get to quoting me. But she called around and found out that my mama had stole something from Walmart when she was a kid. But she's a teenager. My mama ain't no thief. She worked hard. Yes, my dad went to jail, but he wasn't on drugs. He was a hardworking man. I hate that she talks about people that can't defend themselves. I would get so upset when people say bad things about me. And I just didn't want to affect me and my emotions. I didn't care when people would, talk about me. They talk about me, it was fine. But I don't like when they talk about Ferris and other people. Then they talked about, T. Ferris sending her text messages and Bible verses after Milagro would make a negative post, and it would send her into a deep depression. She said that she read the verse, she understood the verse, she didn't give a damn. Well, I said to give a damn, but she said she didn't care because she was so checked out and she was just so tired. There was a text to Rock Nation's Desiree Perez, who was her manager over at Rock Nation. They pulled the text up on the screen. It said 9/14/2022. Megan Thee Stallion texts Desiree Perez, I really want to sue this lady. I hope we've been keeping all the info in a folder on her. Desiree Perez responds, yes, we have! Exclamation point. Oh, yes. She felt like it really hurt her seeing that Tory Lanez and Milagro put out that, she was retarded and she had a drinking problem and talking about her family history and her sex life. She felt like people were always trying to lean in on that and like make and validate the fact that, she should have been shot because of all of that. Megan's thing was, it feels like Milagro is putting this narrative out because I've had sex, because I twerk, because I drink, I deserve to have been shot. And no one feels bad for me because what you guys see of my persona. So that is her biggest thing. She feels that you all, the public, all feel like because she's sexually fluid, because she drinks, because she talks about sex, because she's had multiple boyfriends, that she somehow deserved to be shot. And so that's why no one has any empathy or pity or anything for her. She said, I don't understand why I'm the bad guy. And I was shot. I was shot. How am I the bad guy? Okay. She said, the thing is, I hate the idea that she put out like I'm the type of person that would sit and lie on a stand and put an innocent person in jail. That really bothers me. That really bothers me because I would never, that's not my character. I would never lie to put an innocent person in jail. That's not my character. It's not. And they used me saying I stepped on glass to protect everybody in the car. They used it against me. I should have just said he shot me. They asked her, Megan, when is the last time you went back to that therapy clinic? This year. I'm still not okay. I still haven't processed being shot. It's like, I'm not even mad about being shot. Well, I'm not going to say that. I am mad about being shot. But it's like, I just haven't processed it. Like the whole thing mentally. Like, so what I get what she's saying, she ain't like not mad that she was shot, but I think that's over. Like, okay, girl, you shot me. That's still a gag, but like, I haven't processed. Like, I was shot. That's a lot. I think that's what she was saying. I don't know. She said she was so nervous when she testified on the stand during the Tory Lanez trial because there were many bloggers that were there that didn't like her. I don't know who. She felt alone. She only had 2 people there. Tory Lanez's family was there. All his support was there. It was just her. Milagro was sitting directly there with the family. And there was a slew of bloggers in there that were waiting to write down anything she said and twist her words in a narrative. They hated her. Then they went into the whole Tory Lanez story. I'm not doing that. But you guys know the story, the night of the shooting. So she went into that. The Gayle King lie. She said, what did you go to Gayle King for? I went to Gayle King to talk about the shooting. She caught me off guard and asked me if I had a sexual relationship with Tory. So I told her no. Because everyone was so focused on my sex life. And I'm a hoe and me and Kelsey's fighting over a nigga. Of course I said no. I was embarrassed. How could I share my body with somebody that shot me? I'm embarrassed. Everybody's got somebody that they slept with that they're embarrassed about. Tori is my biggest embarrassment. Gayle caught me off guard. Tori and I were good friends before the shooting. We really bonded over losing our mothers. Megan, how did you feel on the day of the verdict where he got convicted for shooting you? I felt vindicated at the guilty verdict. I thought everyone would see that it's not my fault. But that was the opposite of what happened. But it's like, you notice, he will never say it himself that he didn't do it. He talks like around the point. He says it to everyone else, but he never said that he didn't do it. Why he didn't say he didn't do it? If Kelsey shot me, why you didn't get up there and say you didn't do it? She made a good point there because he never says, I didn't do it. And he lets everybody else say he didn't do it, but he never says he didn't do it. He never says that. He said, because he can't. I'm telling you, I believe he shot her. It's no shade. And she also talked about how her story never changes, but the Tory Lanez story changes. The Tory Lanez Milagro story changes. Her story has always been Tory shot her. The other stories on that side have been, first, they were fighting over a gun. Then it was she shot herself. Then it was Kelsey shot her is the new one. And also, I think there was one where she didn't know who shot her. That was all Tory Lanez side. So she was saying, do people not realize that side story has changed about 3 to 4 different times, and my story has never changed? I feel bad because it's like, do people like you now because you shot me? I feel like he got more famous. I feel like it's so crazy. I feel like people like him now because he shot me. It's crazy. They said, how do you feel about Milagro? I feel like Milagro has something deep within her towards me that she needs to work out within herself. Like, I don't know. I think she gave something going on in her. Deep. Rooted. That she just cannot take Megan Thee Stallion. Like, there's something deep within Milagro that she needs to work out from the inside out. It's stinking. I'm like, ooh. Milagro, you are famous because you report negative news on me. DJ Academic Podcast. 2 people that get instructed by Tory Lanez and her father, if you ask me, to push a narrative It wasn't surprising. I felt like I knew it was coming. Academics does have more followers than she does. And I felt like she's just being platformed to reach more people, to push that I'm a horrible person. Even my cameraman, that story with the cameraman, and here goes Milagro again. She found another person that doesn't like me and she attaches herself to. Every time there's somebody that doesn't like me, Milagro attaches herself to them. My character is not the type of person that would throw somebody in jail for no reason. I would never do that. She would go every day out of her way and drag me for what I said, how I look, how I move. I'm just tired. I'm so confused. I don't know why. Then they played a video of Milagro dragging Megan Thee Stallion with the sympathy fro. And I think Megan Thee Stallion was working with this suicide organization. However, Milagro was just using it as an overlay. They said, Megan, do you recognize the video that she's talking over? She said, yes. And they said, can you play exhibit, whatever it was? And it was a video about her talking about suicide and, this, that, and the third. And they said, what was this about? Megan cried. I know what it feels like not to want to be here anymore. I know what it feels like to be a burden. I know what it feels like to just want someone to hear me. And I wanted somebody in my situation to know that you're not alone, even if you don't know them. I don't think Milagro knew that was that video, but that was the perfect alley-oop that Milagro gave them because they used that too. She says, I actually never heard that me and T. Ferris was supposed to be having sex until Milagro posted it. Actually, I think she made that up. I don't have a legal guardian. T. Ferris is my brother. She said they pulled up the pictures of Milagro Grams having Megan Thee Stallion's pictures in her house in her phone. They said, what did you think when you saw that Milagro Grams had pictures of your house in her phone? She said, I thought it was crazy as hell. Not only are you aligned with Tory, not only you talk about my family every day, not only you hate me, you got pictures? You said you'll run over me in the car. You got pictures of my house? Why do you have that? Why do you have that? Are you going to come to my house? I didn't even know if I wanted to live or die. Like, what was this stalker gonna do? I'm like, ooh, stalkers. Ooh. Ooh. Child. I'm trying to tell you. Put a one in the chat if you're loving the content. Okay. Shout out to the 15,000 people we have across all platforms. Can you guys like the video? Because we're now getting into the cross-examination, which I feel was terrible. The cross-examination was terrible. Here's what I did notice, though, and I got to watch my words with this because I don't want to get sued. And I'm going to watch my words with this, but I do feel like I want to say it because my spirit told me this. Megan has a boyfriend. The Milagro's attorney, very handsome man. Megan's a beautiful girl. He's black. He has a wife and kids, I believe, too. But I noticed when Megan and the guy were doing their thing, he was very like getting to it. But Megan, women just do. Megan got comfortable with him. Like, she actually started kind of carrying the interview, and you can just kind of tell when two attractive people are talking to each other, there's a certain level of respect that they have, even if they're on opposing sides. And girls are gonna girl on a cute boy, not anything over the top, but it's like, what was you talking about? Like, what? That's not what that means. Like, she was in that bag, like, what? Like, no. Like, you could tell, like, she didn't have no problem with him. And then, like, it was even a point where, like, through that, it was kind of like a little laugh. Like, she threw on the girl charm on the cute boy. And, he was still trying to be the professional, but it was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it wasn't like that. Like, don't take my words and twist it. But the energy just was like a little bit different. I didn't say she was flirting. She wasn't flirting, but don't take my words and be cutting them up and switching them up, y'all. Ciao. I did not say she was flirting with that man. I'm just saying, like, I could just tell, like, girls are gonna girl. You know what I mean? And she knows she cute, and it's a cute boy. And you just like, but she wasn't flirting. Just like, no, what? Like, no. Like, she made him break character a little bit and laugh. He was fumbled. He was fumbling. His team was fumbling a little bit too. They didn't have the exhibits up. He was trying to get. It was like, it was hard. But Megan, she did her. She charmed. But that was her job, because his job was to trip her up and discredit her, and her job was to throw him off. So they asked him, so let's just get into it. They asked him about the police, the shooting. She said that, she was protecting everybody, same thing, blah, 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 blah. Gayle King, why did you go to Gayle King? She said she went to Gayle King to talk about the shooting. Then they got into the Kelsey piece. Did you get into an argument with Kelsey? She said, I've never gotten into a fight with Kelsey, or an argument with Kelsey over Tory Lanez. Megan Thee Stallion says, I never knew Kelsey to have a relationship or a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez. She said, Tory Lanez Kelsey liked Tory Lanez, but Kelsey had a boyfriend. Tory didn't like her. She knew it would hurt Kelsey's feelings to tell Kelsey about her and Tory. But the thing was, she said that Tory was being petty in the car and brought up the sexual relationship with Megan. But my thing is, if you never thought that they had a sexual relationship or any type of relationship, why would he be being petty and bring up the fact that y'all hooking up? What does that have to do with Kelsey? I didn't understand that. They were talking about, he brought up, when Kelsey mentioned that you backdoored her, what does she mean? Meg was like, I don't know what she means by that. He was like, well, what does backdoor mean? She's like, well, I don't know. Does it mean that you kind of did something behind her back? She's like, it could be. And that's when they went into, well, Kelsey liked Tory, but he didn't like her. She had a boyfriend. And then she actually said, when Kelsey left California, that's when I slept with Tory. And then he said, so that was the backdooring. right? Megan said, could be. So, girl, let's put this in perspective. You knew that Kelsey liked Tori. Tori didn't like her, but you waited for Kelsey to go home or leave California, then you fuck Tory Lanez. Well, girl, that's the same thing. That's the same thing. But y'all wasn't fighting over the nigga. Like, girl, what? Like, you fucked her man. Like, that was her piece. She wanted him. Like, girl, I don't know. I just feel like, girl, I don't know. Like, he didn't want you, girl. He wanted me. I don't know. I don't know. But she had a boyfriend. So it was kind of like, you got a boyfriend. So, girl, there's there's people out there like that. Oh, girl, you got a man, girl. You can't have him, so I'm gonna fuck him. I have a friend like that that'd be like, oh, you got a man, like, girl, like, if anything, like, if I used to have, I have a friend like that would literally, like, because if he know I got something going on, he'd be like, oh, bitch, and there's a cute boy there, she's just gonna just like run and fuck him. I'm just like, girl, what's the tea? Like, can you just wait? Maybe I'm trying to figure some things out. Can I even get a chance to process why I want to do this? No. Oh, well, you got a man, bitch. I'm gonna fuck him. It's like, damn. Go ahead, girl, I guess. Thousands of people gave you backlash, right? Not just Tori and Milagro. She was like, well, I don't know how many, but I guess yes. Is it true that you lied on Gayle King? Yes, I did lie on Gayle King. Did Milagro ever say you should have been shot because you had sex with Tori? No, but I mean, she insinuated it. But did she say you should have been shot? Well, I don't know. She probably did. She always say something else. Yeah, she probably did. I don't know. That's what I mean. She probably did. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Then they got really weird because it was like they was talking about this doctor, and then you said you had never you said you had nerve damage. You said you had nerve damage at the doctor, right? And the doctor said that that's not true. It was confused. She was like, was it my doctor? Was it that? And I was like, this is a mess. This team can't even pull it together because he kept trying to pull up the exhibits because there was a doctor that said that she didn't have nerve damage, but then she was saying, well, was it the right doctor? And then they had to pull up the transcripts from the Tory Lanez trial. It was just getting so convoluted. They were up and down. It was taking forever. The two girls that was working with him, he needs to get rid of them because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're slowing him down. Then we got into the ring camera footage of the 5 shots. They said, because they got into the dance, they said, that's when Tory Lanez did the 5 shots and told you dance be dance. She said we didn't hear dance be, and Kelsey attested that she didn't hear dance be. Megan Thee Stallion said Kelsey also said that she didn't see any blood in the car. Then he asked her another question about Kelsey. She's like, I don't really want to get into what Kelsey does because I think she felt like Kelsey took a payment. You said you didn't get into a fight with Kelsey Harris. I did not get into a fight with Kelsey. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Then they asked her to read the Jaquan Smith affidavit. And she was like, let me see. So she was reading the affidavit and she was like, yeah, laughing and smiling. She's like, whatever was in when it was like Kelsey, they were fighting and this. She was like, this is a lie. This is when she started getting to her charm. She was like, and this is a lie. This is why he didn't come to the court because no. This is a lie. And he didn't want to go and perjure himself on the stand. He's like, is this your first time seeing it? Well, this is my first time seeing it. Yeah, this is my first time seeing it here. And it's not true. Everything in this document is fake. So then the guy came back. I forgot what they ended up laughing at together, but they ended up laughing about something. So then they said, well, You believe Jaquan Smith lied? She said yes. Kelsey lied. Correct. Tory lied. Correct. You yourself lied. Well, hold on. But my story never changed about the shooting. I lied about sexual stuff in relationships. I did not lie about the shooting. They lied about the shooting. But Tory was arrested months later after, because Rich, you know why he was originally arrested? Because he had possession of the gun. Not for the shooting. He didn't get arrested until, because actually the state actually dropped your case, or the district attorney dropped the case, something like that along the lines. And the state only picked up the case again after your attorneys went and talked to the DA. Then they talked about how Milagro leaked police reports. How did she get the police report? I believe that he gave it to her. Because she was like, I know she didn't get it from LAPD, because I mean, that would be a bigger issue if she got it from LAPD. And I wrote, this is hard to watch. Because Megan Thee Stallion was like, she was in full like girl mode. Like, boy, shut up. Like, next, what you talking about? Anyway, boy, like type of thing. So then they said they get to the drinking. So remember when Megan Thee Stallion did Hiss and it went number one, and she had the little Hennessy, and she was drinking Henny out the straw? Well, they played that video where she was like, let's get ratchet, and she was dancing with the Henny in the straw. And she was laughing. She was like, they was like, you know, would a person think that you're drinking, that you like to drink like that? Like that you, she's like, you want me to explain this? So this right here was a celebration because the person that I made the song about, they were kind of trying to make fun of me for drinking. Now, I didn't know that Hiss was about Nicki. I just thought it was a little whack. So Hiss, we found out, was that was her diss record. Because she said that she was kind of mocking Nicki, because she didn't say Nicki, but she was mocking Nicki because Nicki said that she was drinking Henny through a straw. She said, if you notice, the Hennessy never moved the spot, because I don't drink Hennessy anymore. I don't even drink dark liquor. I'm more of a tequila girl because I was in my fitness journey, and this she's like, I was on my fitness journey, and you know, it's just way too many calories. So I'm more of a tequila girl now. They said, well, who was the song about? May was like, why do y'all keep bringing this lady up? Like, like she was like, what? Like, because he was like, well, who was the song about? He was like, why y'all keep bringing this lady up? Like, I feel like y'all keep bringing this lady up because y'all want it to go viral, and y'all want it to go on Twitter, and y'all want people to write this down and go on Twitter, because that's the kind of, you know, stuff that your client like. And I just want y'all to, I know y'all, that's what y'all want. Like, you just want it to go viral. You want people to write this down and it go all over Twitter. But it's Nicki Minaj. Like, why y'all keep bringing this up? He said, she was like, it's about Nicki Minaj. Then he said, I have a next question, another question. She was like, is it about Nicki Minaj? He's like, no. She's like, okay, like, girl. So there was another video that the Shade Room posted about, you know, her drinking and being up and having a good time. And she was like, do you know what the Shade Room is? She was like, yeah, I know the Shade Room. That's the blog, right? Yeah. And do they post, they're kind of like negative, right? She's like, well, the Shade Room audience isn't a real Megan Thee Stallion kind of platform. Like generally it's like a nasty platform. Even if they try to like word it in a positive way, the fans that like subscribe to the Shade Room, they don't like me. Does Milagro run the Shade Room? Because his point was like, there's other blogs that don't post you in favor, and there's other people with millions of followers that drag you. She said, does Milagro run the Shade Room? She was like, I don't know. I don't know. No. And then he's like, the Shade Room. Does Milagro run the Shade Room? She's like, I don't know. And that's when they laughed. Because he was like, girl. And she's like, I don't know. Maybe she could. I don't know. I don't know what she do. And he laughed like, girl. So I'm like, she was playing with him up there. I'm like, girl, at first I was like, girl, they flirting. But then I was like, okay, no, maybe it's just like, she's like, girl, like, nigga, no, I don't know. Maybe. She was up there like playing the game. Then he started talking about how, she was drinking in her documentary, how she talked about how all she was doing was drinking and fucking in her documentary. She was like, well, I mean, I was going through a lot. And everybody was talking about my sex. So yeah, girl, like I'm young. I was drinking, I was fucking, it was what it was, but that don't mean that I should be shot. And I was like, I think she is such a girl. Because she was like, she was controlling the narrative. He couldn't really control the conversation. And then the judge interjected, and then we got put on recess until tomorrow. So they will finish their cross-examination tomorrow. So, that was 2 hours of talking. We finally made it through. Are you guys enjoying the coverage? If not, please subscribe to the channel and please donate to our wig fund because we need a haircut and a new wig tomorrow. All right? Keep us covering trials and keep supporting us. So please keep the flyer miles in the gas tank full if you guys want me to continue to cover and travel for the trial. So we are definitely asking for your dollar donation any way you can give it. Okay, it is pinned to the chat on YouTube. And it is Venmo at ARMON_A if you would like to give. And if you would like to Cash App, I think it's working now. It is $ARMON AREECE. Not Armand Wiggins. That is somebody else. All right. Shout out to the 17,000 people across all platforms that have tuned into the show today. I appreciate you guys all. I have an early morning tomorrow. I love y'all all. And I will see y'all on the next one, okay? It was a good day. Content-wise, I don't know how great it was for Milagro Grams, but you guys have a good evening, okay? Peace out.